Following is a Scotch Media production.
If you're having pain in your left calf, it is possible that it's in response to your right shoulder because they are definitely connected by this spiral line of fascia. So once I connect the lines, connect the dots, it's like this light bulb.
Welcome back to another episode of the Easewell Podcast. I'm Dr. Cara, and I'm sitting down today with a good friend of mine, Mr. Dedric Carroll, with Empirical Knead here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm super excited about today's conversation, and I hope you guys get a lot of knowledge from what we're going to be talking about. And without further ado, let's jump into it. How you doing?
I'm amazing.
Awesome.
I'm excited to be here. You know, nerves, everything that's involved when you're being recorded, you have to be on, all that good stuff. But all that will seem to, diffuse as we become more relaxed in the conversation. It's great to be here. Yeah. I'm glad you're doing this, by the way. It's fantastic. It's amazing. And it's good to be here.
Yeah. Well, the goal of this is to teach some folks about stuff that you know very much you have your expertise in, yeah. And I as well in some aspects. So let's teach some people some things. First and foremost, I have been to you for many massages in the past, and I have to say, Mr. Carroll is one of the best to do what he does. And I'm not sugarcoating that whatsoever. He is very, very, very talented in what he does because he understands the human body. It's not just any kind of massage. It is an intentional massage. You do a lot more than just a massage. So I want you to kind of break down what you do.
It is that, and it's become a bit of an evolution over the past 16 years of my massage career. I got a great foundation of education at the wonderful folks at Atlanta School of Massage, and one of the best schools in the country.
Awesome.
It left there with 6 certifications, and while I was in school there, I ended up being right place, right time, thoughts or things manifested into being on doing research, clinical research with the fine folks at Emory University.
Wow.
So 12 years of clinical research that provided an in-depth insight to what the neurobiological effects of massage can be. That actually reshaped and reformed my approach to bodywork because I was very orthopedic and am still orthopedic driven. But having to go into the clinical research and understanding variables and how to actually make observations and come up with clinical designs, clinical research around the scientific method. All that really reformed and reshaped my understanding of massage and its neurobiological effects. And that clinical research provided me with insight and in-depth that most massage therapists don't have the opportunity to have.
Totally.
And so that I initially started out as, Dedric Carroll, LLC, or actually Still Point Massage. And because of the clinical research that reshaped my approach to massage, my understanding of massage, and through that empirical Knead, Knead,
yes,
was formed because it did form out of empirical evidence.
I love it.
And even in my own work that I do, everything is scientifically proven. I do research behind every single technique that I do, that I teach my therapists. So everything definitely is scientific based.
Yeah.
And along that way, the orthopedic part of me still desires a sip of water.
Hydration is key for your muscles, for your body, everything.
Whatever that means. But the orthopedic part of me still existed and still want to refine and reshape my approach to bodywork. And I discovered fascia. I heard about fascia when I was in school, and I thought, what is this silly stuff? And I thought it to be something not involved or not important in bodywork whatsoever.
It's often overlooked in my world, in the chiropractic world, but also there's few looking into it and making sense of what fascia does. So yeah, please continue.
And through my interest in fascia, I began to realize that there are actually very in-depth studies of that were in place, protocols that can actually reshape and reform the shape of one's body through the fascia network. We all have the same fascia gloves that flows in the same way throughout our bodies, that runs in spirals around us, linear, deep, very superficial, that hold us into a glove, that give us our shape and form. And it is actually shaped and formed by every movement that you have made throughout your entire life. Whether you are aware of functional awareness movement, or most of us move in our lives unaware of functional movement and inadvertently instilling dysfunctional structural patterns in our body through that movement, through that fascia network. That fascia network it envelops us all the way down from our superficial visual skin all the way down to what we can't see surrounding the cellular makeup of our muscles. We were fascia in utero, and we become this form that we are shaped by this fascia. And you can actually take and reshape someone's structural form in a dysfunctional form, for example, a high shoulder, rotated hip, and connect it to the fascia and actually retrain that fascia in a more functional plane. And right before your very eyes, change someone's form into a more functional operation and reduce their pain, reduce their function, or rather increase their function in one session right away. So
through the fascial network.
Through the fascia network, right.
Can we break down what fascia is for those who may not know listening to the podcast, as in the simplest form as possible?
So what exactly is fascia? I understand fascia as there's an evolution. I have an evolution understanding of fascia. Surgeons have an evolution of the understanding of the importance of fascia, but it's a connective, supportive network. Collagen fibers that's it's wet, sticky. I actually have pictures of that on my website, empiricalknead.com. I brought some blue friends here as well that will illustrate how the bottom of our foot actually is connected via fascia links, via fascia networks, via fascia lines or tracks, if you will, that connect every single muscle.
Let's see it.
On the bottom of our feet, you can see this guy here. These are my blue friends. And we have to credit this to our friends at Anatomy Trains at Tom Myers. Tom Myers is a brilliant body worker, and visit anatomytrains.com and learn more about my blue friends here. But you can see how it's illustrating the bottom of your foot connected to the top part of your head via these deeper lines of connective tissue fascia. And this particular one is known as the superficial back line. He, for example, is looking at me, and I actually have a dissection of the connective tissue that is associated with these lines of fascia. He's looking at me. You can see the top part of his head connected to the bottom part of his foot. One piece of connective tissue. Your head is not separate from your foot, linked by these deeper lines of connective tissue fascia called lines or tracts.
It's amazing.
You can connect into these lines or tracts. And in this particular case, our back line flows down this particular direction. Our front line would flow up. Our front line flows up. Our back line flows down. And so in this particular case, he's also attached to a skeleton, also looking at me, top part of his head, the bottom part of his foot. You can see the thigh. You can see the erector spinae. You can see everything in between in this superficial back line. And this is also oftentimes involved in forward head posture. And you can see this particular guy, for example, and many of my clients have forward head posture, and we've become kind of specialists in treating forward head posture, aka tech neck.
Yes.
And you can see with this guy, if his head is fixed forward, how much tension it's putting on this back line.
100%.
And so we want everything stacked, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over knees, knees over ankles. Oftentimes when we have forward head posture, our nervous system is shifting our shoulders and hips to support this neutralized 12 to 15 pounds.
Right.
Every degree forward, we're increasing 10 pounds. So we're getting out here, you're holding upwards of 60 pounds.
That's crazy.
From here, and it's anchored here, here, and here. So your hips shift around, your shoulders shift around, all to support this dynamic 60 pounds that's now sitting out here. So your entire bony structure via the fascia network starts to shift everything to support this dynamic 60 pounds that should sit up here at about 12 pounds.
That's a lot. Yeah, we see that all the time in the chiropractic world, of course, because of text neck or tech neck, however you want to call it. People spend a lot more time on their devices, hunched forward, not just because of their devices, they're working all the time. Or maybe you're a dentist or dentist assistant, or you're a hairdresser, or whatever you're doing. That involves a lot of modern day work involves looking forward and hunching over, and you're helping a lot of people in that aspect, right?
Absolutely.
100%.
And the symptoms that are a result of that are often just that, symptoms.
Yes.
Someone having a rotator cuff, needing a rotator cuff surgery because they have frozen shoulder, or their supraspinatus tendon is now compressed under their acromion process because it's shifting around to support your head. You're going to get potentially rotator cuff surgery. It's a symptom of not addressing the forward head posture. You have to retrain the head where to go. The shoulder will fall back. Naturally, the assault of your tendon will go away, so that will save you from going to have these orthopedic surgery addressing a symptom and not the cause.
Yeah, go into the root causes with this fascia stuff. Now, fascia it's not only covering the very insides of your body, with the bones and the, what else is it covering?
All the way down to our visceral network.
Visceral network, meaning organs.
And here we can see, going deeper, this is our deep front line. That includes your tongue. We have our diaphragm. This would include your lungs, going all the way down again to your toes.
More muscular.
More muscular. And would include in this also, not illustrated, would include your diaphragm, your lungs. We would engage breathing patterns. Fascia and breathing are connected. You can actually have dysfunctional breathing patterns that were a result of early childhood trauma. And you never quite let go of that. And you walk throughout life with this never quite letting go. And the restrictions that puts in your fascia network, and even though you let go, the fascia isn't letting go. And it takes someone like me that can see where you are fascially restricted, that can go in and work through the diaphragm, that can work through compressing the lungs and having you push back against me and get that deep layers of fascia that go all the way down to your spine.
Right.
We can actually access your spine through your abdominal region, and we know our hip flexor, our psoas muscle, is also included in this. You can see our psoas muscle included, not separate from your jaw, not separate from your foot. But oftentimes, this is unbalanced as a result of what's going on here. So going very deep into the core does definitely include organs.
That's a great information to explain a lot of unexplained things that we don't know the answers to. Fascia, look to the fascia for that. I mean, is it true that fascia has its own neural network?
It is true.
Okay. And also maybe its own blood?
It is emerging science. I would say even 10 years ago, surgeons would just cut the fascia away and remove it. Right. Now that they understand this network supply, they will take the fascia, move it away, do the surgery that's needed, and then take the fascia and put it back because it would readhere.
Yes. It's like saran wrap, so to speak, in the body that holds everything together, literally everything together. Every organ, blood vessel, bone, nerve fiber, and muscle. It keeps it all in place, right?
Indeed.
Amazing stuff that we don't really know too much about yet, but after this podcast, I hope you guys do.
And we've only scratched the surface. I mean, there's so much more, and I feel like we're kind of rambling here, but this is kind of the spiel that I will go through with my clients when they come in with their shoulder pain or back pain. I kind of show them, I will illustrate how it's all connected. And then before you know it, they're starting to put the pieces, oh, my hip was hurting. Right. Oh, well, this was. So they start putting the fascia lines together in their pain experience. And that's really important so that I can hear every experience, every nuance that you're feeling in your body, because then I can connect the fascia line dots. Well, if you're having pain in your left calf, it is possible that it's in response to your right shoulder, because they are definitely connected by this spiral line of fascia. So once I connect the lines, connect the dots, it's like this light bulb. Wow. And people's mind goes off and they start connecting the dots together. And then we not only do we do the fascia work in the body, we also provide awareness, functional movement, functional exercises to strengthen this posterior chain, the back chain, because we're so assisted by gravity in our forward flexion. So not only do we do fascia retraining manually, but also give you functional exercises and functional movement exercises that you can do every single morning that will retrain your fascia in a more functional plane.
Yeah, and maintain those gains that you've made after you've broken down some of the fascial
Absolutely,
adhesions.
right.
Lovely, man. Let's jump into what's very important too is lymphatic drainage. I'm very interested in learning a little bit more about that because it seems like your lymphatic system is supposed to get rid of toxins and whatnot. Massage, we know, most people do know that it helps with getting that out of your body and getting the flow. Can you break down a little more of what that means?
Absolutely. The lymphatic system carries our trash and debris out of our body. It helps us detox. It is a closed network, much like our circulatory system, and it flows a very specific way. You have your main lymphatic vessels in your neck, your armpits, your abdominal region, your inguinal area. We open those up. They're actually are like kind of train stops, if you will.
Okay.
Or car stops, if you will. The lymph is traffic. And so the traffic will follow throughout the highway vessels, will stop through various points of the major lymph nodes as debris is removed. And doing general lymphatic drainage, you can actually help pick up the pace of the lymph. In some cases, for various reasons, the lymphatic system will slow down, will become impeded for whatever reason. Once you know the flow of the lymphatic vessels, the flow of the lymphatic network, you can actually pick up the pace of the lymph and move it into nodes that may be sluggish, help the body detox.
Well, you're shifting all of that stuff into the next
You're detoxing, you're rehydrating, and hopefully all of the nodes, if you will, the drains are there.
Right.
In some cases, you may have surgery, and so it's really important to know that you can't drain into nodes that aren't there. You have to drain around those nodes.
Is there more concentrated lymphatic drainage systems on one side of the body versus the other?
More so on the front side of the body than on the back side.
Okay.
But they are evenly dispersed. But there are some scattered throughout that are more higher and concentrated, but more so on the front than on the back. So most of the lymphatic drainage is done more on the front. There are some superficial ones in the back, but primarily, again, on the front.
Left and right, about the same on each side. Okay, cool. I remember learning about this a lot in chiropractic school, and when we actually dissected a human body and saw these systems in place, it was amazing. And it's, we deal with that a lot in chiropractic, definitely in massage. It's super, super helpful. Do you have any stories about maybe? Most
of my clients, based on the area that I'm in, are coming post-surgical procedures. That's really beneficial for those who have had liposuction or any type of surgical procedure, and you can see where the lymph is starting to pull up because some of the lymph vessels were accidentally damaged. And then most cosmetic surgeons will recommend lymphatic drainage because they know it complements their work.
Right.
Because you don't want to having lymph pulling up in areas where you've given surgical repair, cosmetic repair to, and then it's showing negative results in your work. So most of those surgeons will recommend lymphatic drainage. So recently I had someone come in that had a lot of buildup in her abdominal region, where she had some lipo and was very dissatisfied with the results. So we did lymphatic drainage, and within 3 days, it had cleared out, and she was quite happy with the surgical procedure.
Lovely.
Had she not come to see me, she would have walked around bloating, not understanding what's going on, complaining to the doctor. But fortunately, she also is in the medical profession, knows the benefits of lymphatic drainage. She actually scheduled 10 sessions with me in 2 weeks. So actually, it's really most beneficial to do lymphatic drainage before and after surgery so that you can get the benefits post and pre.
Get the garbage out so you can heal properly. That's always super fascinating to me to know these things that we don't hear about in the mainstream of healthcare so much, like fascia, or fascia, I'm sorry, or
tomato,
or lymphatic drainage, which kind of pivots us to the next topic, cupping. I know that you do cupping in your office, and does that help with
A rectopili moment, yes. It took me a long time to come to cupping because I was tactile. I wanted to touch it. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to make change myself.
Yeah.
Then I discovered cupping.
Yeah.
And the immediate pain relief of static cupping. So my first experience with that, I went to Knead, and I'm sitting in the class, and that guy hands out some cups, and I wasn't too excited, and I had some pain in my shoulder. So I took the Flexi cup and I put it on. Within 2 minutes, the pain was gone. I was amazed. What is this? So actually what it did, the science behind cupping is that it actually flushes the connective tissue with hyaluronic acid.
Okay.
Hyaluronic acid is what carries the water molecules between all of our connective tissue fibers.
Lovely.
So via pseudo-crisis mode, it succinctly hydrates the body. You can actually see on MRI images where density of fascia pre and post cupping. You can see density, for example, in the shoulder, density of fascia. You can put the cup on, you can see the fascia starting to spread out. Post cupping, you can see there's a separation between the muscle. Next time I'll bring that photo, between the muscle and the fascia. Visually see that within 10 minutes of static cupping, separating the fascia, providing it with hydration, breaking up the fascia fibers. I mean, it's on MRI images right before your very eyes.
Evidence-based research,
Evidence-based
therapy.
research, yeah.
Love
So, and so now I started every single session. Most of my sessions include some level of cupping because I know that what it can do that I can't achieve with my fingers. Most of the people that come to me for a particular reason. They're in pain, they're in discomfort, they're dehydrated. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where there's pain, discomfort, there is usually pain, inflammation, dehydration.
Yes.
And part of that, breaking up the muscle fibers, the connective tissue fibers, rehydrating the tissue, easier said than done. Mm-hmm. So yeah, cupping's absolutely phenomenal. I wish I discovered it earlier. It would have saved my hands, but better late than never. Cupping, absolutely phenomenal.
When you are cupping somebody, basically the mechanism up under that, not the mechanism, how it's working really. When you're putting the cup, say on the forearm, it's going to, you're sucking all the air out of it, and it's vacuum sealing that cup to your body. What you're actually doing is affecting as far down as the fascia. Is that right?
That's true.
That's huge.
I do cupping not only for fascia, trigger point release, but also lymphatic drainage. You can do amazing things knowing the flow of the lymph, and with the blue flexi cups. Actually, they come in blue, gray, several different colors. The flexi cups, yep. You can actually take the lymphatics, the drainage, and really grab that and move it up as long as you're going in the correct direction of the lymphatic vessel, the lymphatic flow. You can create phenomenal change with the cups.
Wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
I need to get it done.
You do. So do I.
Kinesiology. Let's talk about a little bit of that.
Let's talk about it, yes. A fundamental foundation of any good neuromuscular therapist is knowing how the muscles operate. Not only the primary action, but the second and the supporting action as well.
I'll interrupt you. Sorry, for just 1 second. My first time with Dedric, I was super impressed. I was fresh out of school, and he knew muscles, their insertions, and where they go to and how they operate. I didn't have that experience with many other practitioners in his space. He wowed me by understanding how these muscles work, where they go to, the way you're supposed to stroke those muscles in order to get the reaction that you want out of it. So, sorry, I just wanted to put that plug in there for you, knowing what you're doing.
Well, that is kinesiology for those who don't know.
Right.
Knowing the muscles, the origin, insertion, the action of those muscles. Anyone can rub bodies. Anyone can make you feel good. They can release trigger points, but knowing the true flow of the muscle, the fascia network of that muscle, knowing how to release sometimes releasing the fascia is not the direction of the contraction of the muscle. So knowing that distinction as well. And
you know very well the nerves that give energy to those muscles, and you can link it back to the nervous system.
Oh, that is your forte.
Okay. Well, you did show that in what you were doing on my body in that session. So I was highly impressed by that level of knowledge, and it was very effective, by the way. So kinesiology, yeah, man, the way your body moves, and you help facilitate that. What about like prenatal massages? Does that help in any shape, form, or fashion?
100%, yes. And a lot of pregnant women don't know that you can come get massage while you're pregnant, outside of your first trimester.
Yep. And people are scared about the chiropractic adjustment too, but they figure it out. It's,
You can do anything with with a healthy pregnancy, not a pregnancy that's in risk, that you can with someone who's not pregnant. Stretching, tie, cupping, anything that they're able. I've even had some wanting to have sessions face down. They carried small, so I've had a few sessions where they prefer to be face down, but you can do pretty much anything with pregnancy that with anyone else.
And the benefits of having a prenatal massage for somebody who is pregnant is?
Well, also lymphatic drainage is really beneficial to a lot of women because you pull up in lymph in your ankles,
100%.
especially that second and third trimester. So getting that fluid release off the ankles, back pain because the expansion of the extra weight in the front, doing cupping in the back, doing tie stretches, they just melt to that, and I think it's really beneficial for women to know that care is out there, to seek it, come get prenatal massage. You can also, and I have done this before as well, there are a few points that we're not supposed to work unless you're at that point, unless the baby's done and you have clearance from your doctor. But the top of your traps, there's a couple of points that we're not supposed to work, and your ankles is where, and there's a couple of other points that we're supposed to avoid because that can induce labor.
I was going to ask, that's going to make you have a baby.
It can, and it does.
You've had experience
Whether it's coincidental or not, but it's happened. I did get permission. She got clearance from her doctor. This was in my second year in a chiropractic office. She was ready, and this was the one that could sleep on her stomach, or slept on her stomach and got massage on her stomach. So she was ready. She was actually overdue. Can you please help me? So I did. I worked all the points. She gave labor that day.
So if you want to speed up that process, please see Mr. Dedric.
I need to follow up because I recently did, about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, time flies, I did the same thing. She was ready to go. I haven't heard from her. She hasn't been back, so something must have happened.
There you go. And reach out, see if you have the baby or not.
Yeah. So it can happen. So we avoid those points, but when you're ready, we can work them, and they are effective.
It's like magic.
Yeah. Well,
It's been an amazing conversation today. I appreciate everyone's time, and I hope you got all the value out of this that you possibly can. We'll have another one with Mr. Dedric. Please check him out at empiricalknead.com.
.com.
Y'all have a great one. Take care.